So we are here with Edward Askew, who is running for the Board of Supervisors. We'll just get right started, right to it,
Good.
With the first question for you. Why are you running for the Board of Supervisors?
Well, it's real simple. 3 years ago, I was helping some farmers stop the use of slag on gravel roads because it actually not only impacted them, it impacted my in-laws, my mother-in-law and father-in-law who lived on a gravel road. And the way the supervisors treated these people when they came in with 700 signatures from all the different people out in the county that didn't like slag, they just tossed him to the side. And that was Scott Sauer. And that really just upset me to the point I said, okay, someone has to run against him. This type of arrogance can't exist. You know, we are here to help the residents of the county. And basically, I asked around, tried to get somebody to run. They kept saying, yeah, Ed, you're great. Why don't you do it? So finally, I started to run. And there you go.
All right. So the Board of Supervisors handles a wide variety of topics in the county. What experience do you have that you feel qualifies you for this office?
Well, before I started my own consulting company, I worked for municipalities doing budgets, providing services. Now, this was in the water, wastewater, environmental field, which is something that the county does handle. But I read government documents for fun. So I actually go into the minutia of what our county is supposed to be providing, including things like, okay, public transit, the Riverbend Transit. I looked at who did they serve, where did they take them? They take them to Iowa City more than they do to businesses or health care providers in our own county. So those are things I've made it a point to understand. What does the county government do? I read the documents they provide, I listen to the meetings, and if you follow it in the paper, I catch them doing things that they shouldn't be doing.
All right. So COVID-19 has driven many decisions made by all levels of government and households in Iowa. After the health and safety of Muscatine County residents, what are your biggest concerns that we will face through and continue to face through this pandemic?
Budget. Number one thing is budget. We run with property taxes or taxes given, money that's collected, given to the state, then the state gives it back to us. Because COVID is impacting people's lives so much, and it bleeds off into whether I have a job, whether I want to spend money, do I have the money to pay my taxes? The county is actually forgiving taxes now on people, let alone people not paying their taxes. So the key thing is, how do we pay for our services, and how much can we provide compared to what we did last fiscal year? So I'm coming in to basically into a budget that's halfway done. The budget was approved in July. If I get elected, I hope I get elected, I would be taking over a government that half the budget may have already been spent, or more than half of it, and we're stuck then figuring out how to provide services. And that includes overtime to remove snow from roads in winter, let alone repair roads.
In your opinion, what is the number one issue facing Muscatine County at this time, and how would you address this issue?
Okay, number one issue, I feel, is the quality of our road system and how they've allowed the county roads, specifically the gravel roads, to deteriorate over basically a 12 to 14 year cycle. We have ignored them for that long. There's a lot of work that needs to be done, and we won't have the money. So we're going to be providing services for this, that, and the other thing that are needed. And then we're going to have to figure out how to repair the roads so the agriculture businesses, agriculture being the number one business economic engine for this county, how can the farmers get out to their fields? How can they bring their crops back in? Those are key things I think that are going to impact us, let alone everything else we've promised we'd pay for. Mental health system, regional transit, riverband transit, this, that, and the other thing. All those things we've promised to do, then we have to repair things that we haven't even talked about yet.
If you win the election, how will you work with fellow supervisors to provide better the lives of Muscatine County residents?
Well, the first thing I want to do is work with the candidates that get elected. So let's say I get elected and we have people in there that want to improve the business environment of this county. Now, that doesn't mean that I just want to run roughshod over everybody, but what I want to do is make sure we increase the economic security and prosperity of the residents of this county. So that's the first thing I want to work with them on. We need to have an economic development committee. We don't have that anymore on the county level. We need to repair our roads, and I want to work with specifically Doug Holliday on that and go out every Monday or every Tuesday, every day, every week of my term, and go to different parts of the county and look at the quality of the roads. The other thing I want to do is work with the candidates that get elected and the ones that are serving and start having evening meetings at different parts of the county. So there's nothing to say that we can't have an evening meeting in Wilton or in West Liberty, or even here in Muscatine, so people who work during the day can interact with their county government.
The topic of mental health has been raised as one of the key issues facing Muscatine County. Please give us your perception of the current situation and what you would do, if elected, to address this issue at the state level.
Well, first off, at the state level, we need to work with the other 4 counties that are part of the mental health region. In the past, there have been candidates, and I will say specifically Nathan Mather, that have gone to the state and said, oh, by the way, the mental health region is doing financially mismanaging the financial region. Basically, they're not spending the money correctly. And I've heard this grumbling from certain supervisors on the board. What they've done is they've upset the other 4 counties. Those 4 counties voted to kick Muscatine out. Muscatine wasn't even going to be brought back in until the state forced the mental health region to bring them back in. So that's the key thing. First off, we need to repair the working relationship so the other 4 counties trust us. Then we need to turn around and say, what services can we provide with our county staff compared to what services we are paying a third party to provide? Those are questions that we need to investigate, and that's something I would look at quite clearly if we get elected, the people I want to get elected, get on the board.
Economic development in Iowa, specifically Muscatine County, are also hot topics. How do you feel the Board of Supervisors can support economic growth and development in Muscatine County?
There are multiple things we can do. Number one, we need to get an economic committee put together with at least 2 supervisors sitting on it. And then we bring in members from each of the cities' business community and the banks. And we start putting together an economic plan to bring in new jobs into the county. Also, we've talked about the Port of Muscatine. That could go up by Montpelier and work with Scott County to bring in more jobs and to get better prices for our crops. So if we can get an extra nickel, an extra 25 cents a bushel for corn or soybeans compared to the rest of the state, that's an economic driver that brings prosperity to the farmers in this county and the adjoining counties. So those are some of the things we could work on right away that cost no money. So we won't be spending tax money, but the supervisors have to work a bit harder and actually get out there and do something. We need to have a 1-year plan, a 3-year plan, a 5-year plan, something that bridges over the next election cycle to make sure the business community knows that we're serious.
All right, last question. What is the most important thing that you would like voters to know about you that they may not?
Well, okay, I'm a veteran. I don't make a big deal out of it. I served 4 years in the Air Force during the Vietnam War. I didn't go to Vietnam. I was at the tail end of it. They weren't sending anybody over there. I then spent 6 years as a commissioned officer in the Army Reserve after I finished my undergraduate degree. I had to finally leave the military only because I had too many job requirements in graduate school that I just couldn't meet my commitment. But then I served 10 years as the Selective Service Commissioner, or the draft board, for Muscatine County. So I've provided 20 years of service to this country. I also, again, personal, I have a wonderful wife, Pam Askew, Pam Lindell. Her parents, Don and Willadine Lindell, lived all of their life here in this county. Pam's lived all of her life in this county. I'm from Southwest Iowa, so I'm an implant, not implant, an import, implanted in this county. Anyway, those are some of the things about me that I don't go around bragging to people about, because service to my country is service to my country. It's just something you do.
Great. Well, thank you so much for coming today and answering all my questions. And we look forward to hearing the results of the election and wish you luck.
Well, thank you very much. Either way, I'm going to enjoy myself.
Great. That's a good attitude to have.